Hey friends, how's it going? My name is Ramesh Chatterjee, and if you're new here, I'm a lawyer with over a decade of legal practice based in Toronto, Canada. And this channel, the Lodgeburn channel, is really all about me sharing some insights from my journey of more than 5 years trying to build a legal practice that's a so called digital first law firm. And to me, digital first law firm means a set of lawyers and legal professionals who are really committed to using technology as a way of delivering greater value to clients while also building a practice that's aligned with wellness. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts on why the legal profession has just been so terrible in really adapting to some of the realities of the way most non lawyers do business by using technology. And from my experience and from my background, I think there's really two components to this. One, it's an issue of ideas. And for most lawyers and for most professionals, change doesn't really come easy. It's kind of like that adage, you can't teach a old dog new tricks, as it were. And the fact of the matter is, right from law school, we are a profession and we are a set of professionals that really rely on the journeys that have gone before us in terms of how you make decisions on a moving forward basis. And what that means is that law schools are really dependent on lawyers from the outside world telling them how the practice of law looks like, which is not really surprising. However, that reliance on traditional law and traditional legal education may not really equip lawyers and practitioners with the skills and mindset they need in order to succeed when how we're doing business and how most people do business is changing so rapidly. And this is especially true when we talk about stuff like artificial intelligence. Now, this gets worse if you are a solo lawyer and you're really practicing in isolation. You don't really have other people to talk to. For one, if you're a solo lawyer, you're not really going to be exposed to innovative ideas and best practices that come from outside those you know. And if you know people who aren't as tech savvy, or if you don't know people that are running a business, you might not really know how to do things differently because you're just simply not getting that input in. Moreover, I really do believe that the legal community is starved of really collaborative and knowledge sharing opportunities. We, as lawyers, do a really bad job of sharing what things work and what things don't work with our colleagues, especially when it comes to how you run a business. And that reluctance and that lack of opportunities necessarily means that new ideas don't spread, and there's a lot of risk trying to do something new. And if you try to do something new, you're kind of always a little bit worried about what are the consequences of something going wrong. And again, obviously, as a legal profession, failure is something that is real that we don't really tolerate, not only from ourselves, but a community doesn't tolerate either. And so, from my perspective, that fear of anticipated consequences, potential consequences, is really the reason why we say, screw it, let's not do something new, let's just keep going along the tried and true path. And maybe that's in general why the legal profession tends to be risk averse. We just think that there's always problem happening right around the corner. And all of this is not to mention the fact that solo lawyers, especially, but maybe the legal profession in general, we don't really have the resources and time to really explore new ways of doing things. And that lack of resources, whether it be time or money or frankly energy, may be the reason why most lawyers don't really think about investing the time and energy needed to research and implement new approaches. And this is especially true when it comes to a sort of mindset piece, right? When we talk about mindset, and mindset's obviously a really big thing when you're running a business, you have to really think that change is possible. And for a whole host of reasons, the legal profession doesn't really think it's possible. I mean, here in Canada and Toronto, where after the pandemic, we saw a real shift towards going into virtual courts, which obviously now is changing, which suddenly now is changing because judges are expecting lawyers to attend in person courts. And this is kind of the reason why, um, or perhaps demonstrates the reason why a lot of lawyers just struggle with adopting new technology, as do judges. And for that reason, they just don't want to change established habits. Again, this mindset could be due to lack of resources, lack of knowledge, or lack of whatever. But if you don't have the mindset to try and change something, you can't really expect the profession. You can't really expect change to happen. And again, from a broadly speaking, from a professional perspective, I think that most professionals don't know what change looks like, and because they don't know what change looks like, they're really not going to make a decision that really welcomes change. In order for change to happen, you have to really encourage a sort of like innovation. I want to do something different. In order for change to happen, that's simply not happening. And as I also think that basically, from what I've seen, a lot of change happens when early on in people's careers because they're trying something new, they want to do something different from the old guard. But the further along you get into practice, what often happens is that you establish your workflows. And once your workflow is established, you have to have very good reason to change those workflows. And perhaps that's the reason why that many established practitioners don't really see the need to change, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Which in turn has repercussions when we talk about new technologies and whatnot. Um, and if there's no, especially if in this profession, most business, most established businesses will go towards lawyers which have a brand name, which have seniority. And if those lawyers with seniority don't have the mindset of, you know what, we're going to change our practices, the way capital flows, the lawyers that have the most money are just not going to change their practices because, again, they have no reason to change those practices. So, if you are somebody who is looking to change the profession, and if you're looking for to be someone that wants to do something but you don't know where to start, this video is really has first identified some of the problems versus the ideas component and the mindset component. Now, I want to focus the rest of this video talking about how you would go about changing it. Namely, the one thing you go about changing your profession and your practice so that it has wider impact on the profession. And that's simply by talking to people and adopting the practices that non-lawyers adopt when it comes to running their own businesses. And in my experience, when I first started out building out my practice in 2017, I made a concrete decision to try and learn from, adopt, and integrate practices and workflows from outside the legal industry. One, because I wanted to have a tech-forward law firm, but two, when I started my practice, I realized that the reason why technology is so hard to adopt is because we need our workflows and our processes to change. And the way I improved my process and workflows was not talking to other lawyers, but actually talking to non-lawyers. And for me, what that meant was going out, talking to people who are not lawyers about their businesses and what they're doing to try and attract clients. It looked like me going to conferences and workshops and trying to get fresh perspectives on what adopting technology into my workflows would look like. And frankly, it was really engaging and participating in online communities and engaging and frankly spending a lot of money on business coaches, trying to say to them, look, these are the workflows and processes that other people are doing. What are the things that I can do to take those practices and bring them to law firm? And that for me has been something that has been transformational. And in my experience, learning and adopting practices that non lawyers are doing when it comes to their workflows and their businesses, that if that's going to be critical to changing and transforming your own practices to make it more reflective of the way non-lawyers, way most people do business. So again, if you are a professional, legal professional, and you're struggling with adapting and changing your practice so that's more modernized, I highly recommend do not talking to other lawyers, but talk to people who have a experience in running more of a modern business, and B, talking to people who are not lawyers, because their insights and wisdom may be more relevant to you building a more modern practice than other lawyers who simply are used to what they're doing and they don't really have any strategies to provide when it comes to um, modernizing the legal profession. And frankly, here's a plug. I mean, that's the reason why I've started this YouTube channel to share these experiences, but also in my modern legal practices playlist. It's the reason why I want to feature people who are not lawyers but who have something important to say when it comes to addressing an issue of that the legal profession needs to respond to in order to deliver more value to the public, but also make sure that their professionals actually live healthier lives. So if this is something of interest to you, subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can click the little bell below. You can obviously sign up to our newsletter. There'll be a link in the description. And also, if you're looking at learning more about how AI can be used in legal practice, I'm running or experimenting with a workshop that really focuses or helps lawyers build their first team of digital legal assistants using AI. And if you're looking to learn how you can integrate AI workflows into your decision making when it comes to your practice, check out the link below. And if you're interested, feel free to sign up. Um, if all this sounds interesting to you, I really hope it does. Do give me a follow, like I said. However, if you're also interested in learning more about what I see as the challenges facing the legal profession, just click on this video above here, and that video will really take you to what you need to talk to when it comes to how I see the challenges the legal profession needs to address. Talk soon. Cheers.